Okay guys, today's lesson is on drum tuning, specifically tom tuning. I'll go into snare and bass drum on a different lesson because they're a little bit different. So let's get into it. Okay then guys, tom tuning. So before we start, just a quick couple of things you're going to need. Minimum of a drum key. Better to have two. I'll show you why, and the technique I use with two keys just allows general tuning of the head to be a lot simpler and a lot quicker. And a drumstick. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to start on the bottom head. So turn the drum over. And what we're going to do is we're going to loosen every lug. Okay? So in case you don't know, these are lug tensioner, and this is the lug that it goes into. So we're going to loosen all the screws right off. Okay? So everything's completely loose. These are a bit harder to do because obviously this gets in the way. Okay, so as you can hear, the head is completely dead. Okay, no tone there at all. So we're going to turn it over, and we're going to do exactly the same with the top head. So everything's completely loose. As you can hear, no sound at all, apart from the bit of rust that's in the bottom of the drum. Okay, so starting with the bottom head, spin the drum back over. Okay then, so we want to work round and we want to get all our tensioners finger tight. Okay, so now we start at the star pattern, and what I do, there's two ways of working it. You can either go round one by one, or you can do opposites and work round clockwise, okay? So I'm going to do that, and basically you want to turn them until they're all finger tight. Okay, now I have a slight problem with this drum because of the OptiMount system on the toms. It's hard for me to get in there. So I'm going to try just tightening the top. And I'm going to get all these finger tight to the same, so I can't turn them anymore. Doing opposites, and that basically by doing opposites, it makes sure that the drum head is already even tension. So what we're aiming for is that each of the this drum's got 6 lugs, so each of the 6 points we want exactly the same tension, yeah? So that the same tone comes out of each of the tight points on the drum head. If you don't achieve that, you get different tones coming out at each point, which creates a wash, and it's a lot harder to make the drum sound good if you've got tones that are competing for each other. You want them all to be roughly around the same tone, okay? So, just going to tighten those up again. Finger tight until I can't turn it anymore. Okay? So, you've got a little bit of tone coming through, not a lot. And if I tap about half an inch to an inch away from each lug, you hear the tone that's coming out of them. So these two obviously a little bit down, but roughly we're all in the same. Okay? So now what we're going to do is, as I said, work opposites, and this is where the 2 drum keys come in handy to create the even tension on the drum. Okay? We're going to give each of these just a quarter turn. So we're going to go 1, work round clockwise, 2, work round clockwise, okay, 3. So now each of those should be at the same tension. And as you can hear, we've already got some tone coming through. Tapping around, hear the difference? That one is a little bit these are all, so that one there is a little bit higher, okay? And that's because of the OptiMount system, so because I can't get into these properly to tune them. So I'm going to drop that down just a little bit. There we go. So you want the drum, so you want overall the drum to sound the same at each point where you hit it, okay? Hopefully you can hear me talking over the top of this. It's the first time I've done a video like this, so please bear with me. Sometimes I forget to stop hitting the drum before I talk. So once again, so you can hear roughly that all those are in tune, okay? So we're going to stick with just with a quarter turn on the bottom, and we're going to flip over to the top head, and we're going to do exactly the same process. Okay, so working opposites again, as I said. We're going to start off, just finger tight, move round to the next one, finger tight, move round again, finger tight. Okay, I will say at this point, as I remember to, if you've got an old set of drums and you're tuning your drums for the first time, or new drum sets, you don't really need to bother about it so much. You can buy lug nut grease, and it's always a good idea to strip the screws out, re-grease them before putting them back in, because the lug will break before the skin will. So these things can go really, really tight before they'll actually give and break. You're more likely to break the lugs before the skin goes, okay? But with the greasing, obviously it makes it a lot easier because there's less friction on the screw and the lug, okay? So we'll tighten these up again, so making sure that they're all roughly the same. That's about as far as I can go. So all ready. Get a little bit of tone, probably not as much as we'd like. So we're going to go the same process. Okay, so we're going to do a quarter turn, quarter turn, and a quarter turn. Okay, so now we hit the drum again, see where we're at. So you can see straight away the improvement in the sound. So I quite like the way it's sounding. I mean, these are deep power toms anyway, so you get a lot of overtones with them. So I think the bottom head is probably as good as I want it. So now we've got quite a good low tom sound. Okay, we'll just check it around again. So if you put your fingers in the middle, so you can hear the difference there. So this one's quite a bit tighter. Now it's not necessarily, when they're tighter, it's not necessarily that you've tightened them up differently. It could just be that the bearing edge is slightly different here, or this is quite an old head, so it could be slightly stretched more in one place. So we're just going to take that back just a little bit. There you go, so that's better. So there we go, with quite a low tune in there. Okay, if you like your toms a little bit higher, once again, just repeat the same thing. So, going to go on, quarter turn, quarter turn, and then once again, another quarter turn, okay? So there we're going to hit the drum, see what it sounds like. So there you go, once again, a little bit of a higher tuning. In tune with ourselves, apart from the two that are directly in front of me. So we're just going to turn those back just a little bit. Now at this point, the slightest adjustments make a big difference in the tom. Okay, so you can hear that there. Got a nice bit of overtones on it. If you wanted to at this point, we could go back to the bottom head and we're going to take it up just a little bit so you can hear what it sounds like. So with this, I'm not going to do a quarter turn. I'm going to go just probably about an eighth of a turn on all of them. So now the bottom head is a little bit tighter. And if we hit the top head again, you can hear the difference that makes. You got rid of a few of the little overtones and some a nice high pitched or medium pitched tom sound. Okay, so now to get that high tom sound, we're going to go again, but rather than doing a quarter turn, we're just going to do the same as we did on the bottom, just an eighth. Okay, so just a little bit of a turn, and you'll hear the head. Do you hear that then? That's the head cracking as you do it. That's okay, don't worry about it. And again, okay, and now that should give us a nice high pitch. Okay, so once again, you can go bottom a bit tighter on the lower head if you want to, but I think that to my ear sounds good. Okay, so I'll show you what the difference makes if you loosen the bottom head, just so you got an idea of what all the different things are that we're doing. So we're going to go down on the bottom head an eighth of a turn. Remember, working clockwise round. So we've dropped the bottom head. So you can hear you've got that boom sound come back again. Some people like that, some people don't. I quite like having the boom for the bottom, but I generally tune a lot of my drums quite at the lowest possible you can get them anyway. And having generally the loosest you possibly can, because I like that deep thundering sound. Okay, so once again, at this point, you can fine tune it. Just tap round, so you can hear quite a big step was down. Two in front of me are down a little bit. So the majority are higher than the two that are directly in front of me. So I'm just going to bring these up just a little bit. And now every adjustment you make will affect the ones around it as well. So that's a bit. Okay, so you want to aim at each lug to be exactly this, not exactly the same, as close as you possibly can, because they'll never be exactly the same, because as you change one, you affect the other one. And also, as I said, depends on the bearing edge of the drum and the wood, and the hoop itself, depending on what hoops you use. Cheaper drum kits, I would say it's harder to get a better sound out of, because normally they're only 3 or 4 ply thick. These Pearl Masters kits are 7 ply, and you've also got a good mix of wood in these. Also the bearing edge, which is what the actual skin sits on, is a lot better and a lot sharper on more expensive drums. Okay, so you will get a better sound easier with less fiddling with a more expensive kit than with a cheaper kit. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. As you can see, it doesn't take that long to tune your drums. You want a nice step down on each of them. If you try to do the same amount of turns on all of them. So if you want the low pitch, get the low pitch on the first tom. Remember how many turns you did on that to get that pitch. Copy the same on the second tom. You'll normally find that they step down quite nicely. We might need a little bit of fine adjustment, but not too much. Okay, and as you see, there's a lot of talk around tuning and people will overcomplicate it. It's not that complicated. A lot of it is what you like to your ear. You also as well, sometimes you may need to tune to the song or the style you're playing. But just with these, just experiment with it. Do high pitch, low pitch, change the bottom, change the top. Also different heads make a big difference. I like Remo heads myself, but if you use like a batter head, you get like a warmer sound to it, which is the coated heads. If you use like the plastic nylon type ones, you get more of a high pitch, more stick sound. So yeah, just experiment with different heads and see which is best for you. You can use a bit of dampening, as I mentioned. I showed you how to make your own O-rings in a previous video. And they can make a lot of difference to tom sounds as well. You can get things called moon gel or little stickers that stick on to also adjust the sound of the drum. Basically, it takes away some of the overtones. I try to use as little dampening as possible. It's normally impossible to get away with using dampening on the snare drum. When it comes to toms, I like all those rich overtones, the sounds and the general warmth of the drum. So yeah, so I hope that was useful to you, and please comment and rate down below. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.